Ahlan, beautiful beings. Thank you for downloading and listening. Please follow, rate, and subscribe to Lyrical Spit on YouTube, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, or wherever you may consume your podcast. Feel free to send your emails, or if you have music submissions, send that with your information to lyricalspit@gmail.com. We also have a Lyrical Spit 24-hour hotline, 360-200-8779. That's 360-200-8779. And you may just hear your voice message on the show. You could help keep this show free by buying some of our swag of apparel at butcherspit.com. My wrestling bookings may be halted due to the coronavirus, but you know what? I am also ordained. And I can marry you and give you all your blessing needs. Send your requests to dabashibookings@gmail.com. If that's too much to take in, that's okay. You can get all the links to this show at lyricalspit.com.
Warning, parental advisory is recommended. Oh, just listen.
This is a Say Sahan Dynamite Productions.
Huff! Huff! Huff!
Welcome to Volume 10 of Lyrical Spit, and I'm broadcasting live from my compound in Tacoma, Washington. I am not a sports entertainer. I am a professional wrestler who loves to entertain you. From this show's bell to bell, from Tacoma to Yemen, and everywhere else and in between, no talking coronavirus, no talking politics. I want this show, Lyrical Spit, to be an escape for you. I am your host, the beast from the Middle East, the Yemeni maniac, the modern-day sheikh, and a proud Yemen American, Diafullah, the Butcher Dobashi. Okay, let's not waste any time and let's get this show going. I'm going to start this show with Yemenite. You can check them out on Facebook, Instagram, or go to Yemenite.com. That's spelled YEMEKNIGHT, Yemenite. I will be right back to Yemenite, my way.
السلام عليكم.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
ارحبوا.
تفضل.
سمعت ما قالوا؟ ها؟ قالوا انه هو جلس انا
That boy is Benny Hanna.
Some say don't burn bridges, but some of them bridges will take you to hell. Beware where you visit. Round trip can turn into a one-way ticket real quick. Pay attention, get a real grip. Visions get blurry depending who telling the story. Genocide is glorified when you're sitting on the winning side. So how you decide what's wrong and right, and when cultures collide and pride get in the mix. Some say sky is the limit, but it's only the beginning. I'm trying to make it to heaven, ain't that the point of us living? I'm trying to go beyond the black hole, you can't fathom my ambition. You don't need to be behind bars to be in prison. You don't gotta do drugs to know addiction. It's on you to be different, so if the situation changes, adapt to it, yeah. People say a lot of things out here, I'ma go and do it my way. People play a lot of games, I don't need them. I'ma focus on my own lane. ذكريات شارع حدا عند البوفية، أنا والخبرة ناكل بيض وكبدة. على فكرة الجو جميل اشتيلو تخزينة، طلع أحمد سعيد وكل حجز لي ربطان. جاي في الطريق العشب الأخضر ينسيني يضيق، خليني عميق يوصلنا المريخ. وإذا عندك مشاكل ركن بالزوة ريح بالك واستريح. أبوها الزرة رخيلة شوية بطلك بيلا، اهدى يا حنظلة شرميك بالشنبلة. هذه نهاية الفلسفة، رجعتوا نفسكم هزلة. مخزنين محشمين مخدرين ذكيين معطلين مجلسين، والأمور سابرة لكن هذه هي الكارثة. الفرقة تولد هدرة فاضية. People say a lot of things out here, I'ma go and do it my way. People play a lot of games, I don't need them. I'ma focus on my own lane. People say a lot of things out here,
For all my hulkamaniacs that have stuck with me through the thick and thin, train, said their prayers, and eat their vitamins. Be a survivor, man. Don't smoke, it's a joke.
We have a few guests lined up for future Lyrical Spit shows. I just got word from longtime drummer of Powerman 5000 and songwriter Adrian Ost. He will be on. He's just crossing the T's and dotting the I's on a project before he comes on so he could talk about it. Also, the artist you just listened to, Yemenite, and also 60 East, soon to be on the show. Stay tuned. All right, I have an email.
You've got mail.
And this person emailed lyricalspit@gmail.com. The email says, Dobashi, love your new show and format. I have a question for you. Since I have been listening to your show, listeners have been emailing you for advice. Would you please give me some? I have been married for 1 month. The other night, I discovered that my wife uses mayonnaise on her hair before she goes to bed. She has this preposterous idea that it makes her hair grow faster. She claims that lots of women use it. Dobashi, I don't care to smell like mayonnaise at night. What should I do? From No Mayo. All right. No Mayo? Let me think about this for a second. All right, well, there are hair conditioners on the market that are more effective and smell better. Tell your wife that when you go to bed with a tomato, you prefer to do it without the mayonnaise. Hey, this week's guest is going to be professional wrestler Andrea The Giant, so don't go away. You can check out all the artist videos I play here on Lyrical Spit on YouTube. I will be right back. You could check out Ivywood official website at ivywoodmusic.com. This is Ivywood. Amen.
You know, it won't be no tomorrow. Finances, the other F word. Music, money, news.
Welcome to this week's FTOFW Music News. The Rolling Stones have threatened legal action against President Trump over the use of their music at his rallies. They are not the only artists to do so. Over a dozen musicians have instructed the Donald to stop using their songs over the years, including Neil Young, REM, and Aerosmith in 2015, Adele, Elton John, Queen, Earth, Wind and Fire, the O'Jays, the Beatles, and the Rolling Stones again in 2016, Twisted Sister in 2017, Pharrell Williams, Rihanna, and Guns N' Roses in 2018, Nickelback and the Estate of Prince in 2019, REM, the Estate of Tom Petty, Panic at the Disco, and the Rolling Stones in 2020. Bob Dylan's new album, Rough and Rowdy Ways, debuted at number 2 this week on the US Billboard charts, and in so doing has set a new record. Dylan now becomes the only artist to have achieved a top 40 album in the US in every decade since the 1960s. It is Dylan's 23rd top 10 album and his 50th to get a top 40 position. In the UK, his new album took the top spot at number 1. And finally, our co-host Stormy's biggest guilty pleasure, TikTok, has signed a deal with Prince's estate to license his entire catalogue for use on the app. TikTok's entertainment advisor said the aim is to introduce a new legion of younger fans to his music, and I, for one, am all for that. That's it for this week. Stay safe.
For more music, money, news, subscribe to Finances, the other F word.
I will be right back with our guest, Andrea The Giant, right after this hip-hop bluegrass group. You could check them out on gangstagrass.com. This is Gangstagrass, nickel and dime.
1, 2, 3.
Store just to get a little bottle of pills, 'cause the man on the television told me there's a cure for all my ills. Well, I walked on up to the counter and I told him what I had. Now he said, you ain't got no money, you can't afford to be feeling so bad. Oh, can you spare a nickel, brother? Can you spare a dime? Need a couple more dollars now just to get me on down the line.
Hey there, how you doing, ask the folks? I tell them all the same thing, old, black, and broken. They think that's a joke, but I ain't playing. It's a whole lot of truth to what I'm saying. See my bones crack when I'm so pro-black, and I got so many bills and they ain't those stacks. Hey there, Kojak, sucking on your lollipop. Think I can get a ride over to the trolley stop? I just left one job, I'm trying to hit the next one. Doing what I can do so I can get the check, son. You can keep the weed and dank amounts. I'm trying to get folding green in my bank account, so I turn up the tempo, hit the studio in full Rakim mode. Plus I'm trying to stay out of the court, 'cause my ex-wife got me for the child support.
Well, I went down to the bodega just to get a little Mountain Dew. When I opened up my wallet, there wasn't nothing but an IOU. Well, I told my situation, I asked him, what do you got for me? He said, I got this knuckle sandwich, and I'll give it to you for free. Oh, can you spare a nickel, brother? Can you spare a dime? Need a couple more dollars now just to get me on down the line.
From red dirt out to red hook, I've been rocking mic since before there was a Fed book. The left hook, the reason why your man got his head shook. From the PJs where if you slip, you get your bread took. Concrete floors made it chilly when the sun down. Somehow we all made it out from the rundown. Proper plan for getting played for a dumb clown. Took the less travel road standing out amongst crowds. Old head with the fire of a jit. Mo heads, you can tell they a liar when they spit. Ball heads on one plex with the lion in his kits. All said is really nothing if you climb with the fifth, huh? I'm cooking cast iron in the pit. Your bread ain't really thick if all you buying is a fit. I cut it up in sections, then I fry 'em till it's crisp. And season it a little more than required for the fix.
Well, I could not pay my ticket, and I could not pay my bail. Well, the judge couldn't pay me the time of day, and he thrown my ass in jail. Well, they gave me a nickel and a dime, and they placed them upon my eyes. For it cost much more to keep me here than it did to let me die. Oh, can you spare a nickel, brother? Can you spare a dime? Need a couple more dollars than just to get me on down the line. One more time I said, can you spare a nickel, brother? Can you spare a dime? Need a couple more dollars just to get me on down the line.
Yeah.
One day these rats were playing in the woods. Wanted some matches and that's no good.
Listen to smoke before you give it a try.
Only you. Don't play with matches. Don't play with fire. Cause there's nothing very funny about rigged out fight. Nothing very nice on a homeless mind. So if a gorgeous force is what you desire, don't play with matches. Don't play with fire.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Fire.
Finances, the other F word. Music, money, news.
I'm Elo, and here's your FOFW Money News. The COVID virus continues to create change around the United States, according to CNBC. Apartment rent prices in San Francisco have fallen by 11.8% year over year as companies, specifically in the tech sector, welcome the idea of more people working at home. Many people who work in these industries are no longer facing long commutes and are starting to vacate the city. This trend could continue into more major cities as the work-from-home movement progresses. In other news, Oakland County has launched a new program to help residents who have fallen behind in rent, mortgage, or utility payments. The program can grant up to a one-time payment of $15,000 per household for qualifying residents. Oakland's County Board of Commissioners approved a $5 million allocation from the Coronavirus Aid, Relief and Economic Security Act, also known as CARES, according to Patch. And finally, according to U.S. News, stimulus checks to U.S. residents as part of the CARES Act has temporarily staved off poverty numbers for 2020. Unfortunately, this is a side benefit and will not address the long-term problem. I'm Mello, and that's your Money News.
Until next time, follow us on social media at Finances, the other F word.
I would like to introduce, and I haven't seen her since Rumble in the Redwoods 2019, and I was saddened when this year Rumble in the Redwoods was canceled. But it's my pleasure to have a true sister on the show, Andrea the Giant and the Two Giant Wonders. How are you doing? How you doing this morning?
I'm doing pretty good.
So I got a quick question right off the bat. What are the Two Giant Wonders?
Number 9 and number 10.
Okay, I could live with that. All right. Before we start off, I'm gonna spin the first timer's random question. I'm still trying to drink some coffee. I was up a little late last night, so just bear with me. So I'm ready to spin the wheel. Are you ready?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, here we go. Oh, the wrong sound effect.
Sip a little more.
Yeah, there we go. All right. Here's your first time random question. And it is, let me see, I'm opening up the envelope. Okay. Who would win in a cartoon battle? Elmer Fudd when he still had his rifle, Hong Kong Phooey, or Captain Caveman NY?
Oh, I would say Captain Caveman because he was just the more aggressive dude.
Okay. Okay.
Plus, he also had that nice club of his, which was supersized compared to the shotgun that Elmer was never really able to go and point at anything. In Kung Fu, he was usually a little late and sloppy in his attacks.
What was the better cartoon, in your opinion?
Oh, God, it kind of depended. I remember tons of Elmer Fudd and Daffy Duck and such, the Looney Tunes. Always enjoyed that. But I was also a fan of Kung Fu. So
yeah,
that's there too. The Caveman, well, I seen him every now and then. I knew of his existence.
Okay. All right. Well, we got that out of the way. We broke the ice. I want to give a shout out to Joe, to all the Rumble and the Redwood fans. The show will be rescheduled as soon as it is. I will announce it. I might even have Joe on the show. I was kind of saddened that it got postponed. And we had fun last year at the Rumble and the Redwoods.
Oh, we had tons of fun. And folks that don't know, Joe is one of the best promoters to work with. His shows over in Eureka, California, in my opinion, are some of the best shows that I've ever been to. Always exciting. I've been there since the first show. Due to some trauma to the head, I don't remember all of them since then, but they're definitely good.
All right, let's go back in time a little bit. What was your first recollection of professional wrestling, whether it was live or not, or if it was just on TV?
Oh, okay. So it wasn't live. It would have been on an old black and white TV, the kind that you would find in the furniture cabinets of old. My grandmother was watching wrestling and introduced me to it. And I kind of remember the match because it was a ladies' match of all things. And the one lady that was on it was Susan Tex Green. And what was way cool, since that was like my first memory of wrestling, she ended up being one of my wrestling coaches.
Nice.
Years later.
Nice. Yeah. So what gave you the wrestling bug? What was that one moment you knew that's what you wanted to be?
Oh God, it was exciting, the craziness, the crowd. It was, a lot of action, and it just looked very interesting as a child. And I just got hooked on it. For me, it is essentially the Looney Tunes cartoon live. It's crazy stuff that really catches your attention, and it's always changing and enjoyable.
Was there just one moment that it just clicked and said, wow, that's what I wanted to do?
Geez. Over time, I've always enjoyed it. Actually, it wasn't until I was much older, and I had a really late start in wrestling. I didn't start until I was 39, but my daughter was like, "Oh, I love WWE. I want to learn how to go do this." And this was just at the point where the internet was coming to be, and trying to get out there and find how do you become a wrestler. You just couldn't do it. You had to know people. And so I searched for a while, didn't find anything. And then a couple of years down the road, I was doing roller derby, and we had a cross promotion with a wrestling group, Ring Wars Carolina, and got into the ring. And as soon as I stepped into the ring, it was like, this is cool. And then we got in and did our little spiel, and that was done. And if anybody's been to an indie show, the promoters always delay a little bit to fill the seat. And this was the case here, and we ended up going out and doing another promotion of the roller derby. And at this time, we did Indian leg wrestling.
Oh, wow.
It's something that we did at our after parties when we were all a little tired out from the derby match and drinking a good bunch. So we were in the ring, and we went through every girl that was there. I went through the rest, and we invited people in from the audience. And I remember this like 300-pound dude coming in, like, I'm gonna kick your butt. And I'm like, okay. Got over, and I just flipped him, and he was so pissed off. It was awesome. And just the fact of being in there and entertaining the crowd for that little bit, I was hooked. And, you know, that evening, probably 15 minutes later, I ran into the promoter, and I'm like, how do you become a wrestler? And he said, well, show up here next weekend. And we arranged a time. We were there, and then I was there every single week training after roller derby. I was doing both for about a year and a half, and then switched over to doing just wrestling, just because it was more exciting. You had full control of everything, and more ability to travel to different locations.
Now, speaking of roller derby, does Mo Quadzilla Sanders ring a bell?
Not for me.
What's that?
Not for me.
Oh, okay. He's a good friend of mine. I grew up with him. We went through, school together, and he was in X Games, and then he basically travels and he skates for a living. That's what he wanted to do, and he's a big name in roller derby. And he goes around, does seminars, and travels the world to get his own, skate line. I see a lot of similarities with roller derby and pro wrestling, Quite a life,
They go hand in hand.
Exactly.
They go hand in hand. If anything, I'd say derby is a little more difficult on the body. I've seen so many broken bones.
Really?
And yeah, we always had EMT staff, ambulance or first aid kind of vehicle outside, and we used them too. I remember skating next to this gal, and we hit her, and her leg just snapped.
Oh.
And we all took a knee, and they ended up hauling her off, and she was off skates for a couple months, and then came back. But that was a regular occurrence. Bloody noses, bruises. Heck, I had a hematoma on my left thigh that lasted for 6 months.
Wow.
And it was great too, because it had a fishnet pattern in there. Pictures up on my Facebook somewhere, but yeah, that was the coolest thing.
Wow.
Unfortunately, I couldn't feel my leg that night and stopped working, but I was back on skates. The next week.
Yeah, got a question for you. I remember when Glow the series first came out on Netflix. I remember, and I've talked with Sonny and them about it, and I remember watching it. At first, I was kind of pissed because it was nothing like, the true story of Glow, right?
Right.
But if you took that out of the equation and just watched the show, it was actually pretty good. I actually binge watch it every time a new season comes on. What's your thoughts on it?
I didn't like it. I never I knew it was embellished. I just knew too much from the wrestling side. I knew all the girls.
Right.
I even tried out for Glow on the reboot, was casted before the show was canceled. I just had too much respect for the ladies.
Right.
And so I was too close to it and didn't like it from that standpoint. And the fact that some of the embellishments I thought were in bad taste, since I knew that the individuals involved, I just never really got into it. But there's elements there that can draw you in if you're not the insider, in my opinion. I definitely see the draw. It just wasn't for me. Being I'm a pro wrestler, I've been in there and I've done that, and I look at some of the stuff and I go, they could have spent a little more time on the actual wrestling aspects, in my opinion. And I only caught elements of the first season, so it may have gotten a lot better. I don't know.
Yeah. I felt the same way. It took me a lot until I just had to take the actual glow out of it, and I had to try to focus. Once I got that out of the element out of it, I enjoyed it, but I was in the same boat as you.
Yeah, now I liked it from the standpoint of it was bringing more of a spotlight back onto the gals and actually the ladies wrestling in general.
Yeah.
You know, because that's the generation that I grew up in that, you know, I seen Glow. I watched it, and I'm like, hey, great. And I know a lot of the pro athletes in the wrestling world are like, these gals aren't true wrestlers. But yeah, they are. They're just doing it in a different fashion. It's more comedy that was laid on top of everything. But it's there. I mean, they have to be respected. They did their part, and that opened the doors for lots of folks to get into wrestling. So I applaud the history.
Yeah. Yeah. So you said you tried out for the reboot of Glow?
Yeah, I actually, I was wrestling for about 2 years at that point, and the coach says, hey, they're going to reboot this, you got to get out there. So I ended up taking a flight out, staying in a hostel out there, definitely a low budget approach. Walked a couple miles over to the studio, did the thing, and it was great. They loved me. I did a couple little photo shoots for them, and they're like, yeah, you're in, and then we'll be in touch. And then I believe somebody back east won a huge lotto kind of thing, jackpot, and hooked up with Jimmy Hart, and they were opening up another promotion over there that was going to be kind of in line with it. And it was, since they had all the millions of dollars readily available, they couldn't compete, and so they ended up folding on that venture.
Did you ever think about
promoting? Which was disappointing.
Yeah. Did you ever think about promoting yourself? Starting
yeah,
a promotion?
Actually, I've been a promoter. I ran 2 TNA shows over in North Carolina. I had Greenville, North Carolina, and Fayetteville. Yeah, we actually had the big, what was it, 8,000 or 11,000 seat house that we brought TNA in. I had Booker and all the folks over there, Young Bucks. Yeah, it was a great show.
Nice. Have you had any bites from WWE?
No, I pretty much feel I didn't because of my age. Because when I'm wrestling, the main years of my wrestling, I'm in my mid to late 40s, and with WWE, they want the younger talent, just from liability standpoint. So I think I missed that window, but that's okay. I really enjoyed everything with the indie scene, and if I ever had a chance to go over and do a bit with them, I sure as heck would. But wrestling isn't necessarily just being in the spotlight. There's only so many paid positions in wrestling. What is it, between 200 and 300 that are out there, and you're only there for a little bit, and out of those 200 to 300, there's a small percentage that make big bucks. The other ones are just sneaking by. If you want to be a wrestler, odds are you're not in it for the money anyways. You're in for it for the thrill of doing it and the fans. And for me, it's always been the fans.
Just the money's the extra added bonus.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to eat and drink while you're traveling and actually come out ahead.
Yes.
Yeah. But anybody that's been in the wrestling scene, everybody just packs into vehicles, and we travel, try to keep our costs down low. And you always hear the stories about let's go eat a bologna sandwich, because that's pretty much what you got paid to eat. It wasn't good paydays. There were some that were here and there, which were great, It was always the, hey, look, I could get a good payday over here. Let's go in that direction and go to that promotion. That's always the case in any job. If you could get paid more, you go there, right?
Right.
But
exactly.
it was for me, truly, it ended up being the fans. Some of the experiences that I've had with them and the conversations, they touch your soul is the best way to say it. And I truly did not realize that I was impacting people like that until I had a couple of conversations. And that's just awesome. I wouldn't trade those years.
That's
at
awesome.
all.
Awesome. Well, we got some emails from our listeners, awesome listeners. Are you down to answer them? Okay.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back with emails, but first you could check out Tara Who at TaraWho.com. This is Tara Who, Carnivore.
I want a bigger house. I want a hot new spouse. I want to sink my teeth into some fresh new meat. I want more. Baby, I'm a carnivore. Yeah, baby, I'm a carnivore. He don't care about the blood on his hands. Gonna take him to the promised land. He don't care about the blood on his hands. Gonna take him to the promised land. He don't care about the blood on his hands. Gonna take him to the promised land. He don't care about the blood on his hands. Gonna take him to the promised land. I want a fancy car. Don't need to drive it far. Just want them all to see. They're cruising down their streets. I want more. Baby, I'm a carnivore. Yeah, baby, I'm a carnivore. Yeah. He don't care about the blood on his hands. Gonna take him to the promised land. He don't care about the blood on his hands. Gonna take him to the promised land. He don't care about the blood on his hands. Gonna take him to the promised land. He don't care about the blood on his hands. Gonna take him to the promised land. Never enough. It's never, never, never enough. It's never, never, never enough. It's never, never, never enough. It's a carnivore. It's a carnivore. It's never, never, never enough. It's a carnivore. Give him more. He don't care about the blood. Gonna take him to the promised land. He don't care about the blood. Gonna take him to the promised land. It's a give him more.
Well, it's true that I fart, but I wouldn't call myself a farter. I'm a social farter. I really only do it when I'm out with my friends that fart. We hang out, we drink, we dance, just have some fun being together. farting. Sometimes I'll use farting as an excuse to meet a guy. Do you want to go outside for a fart? Yeah. We talk. We fart. Just because I fart at parties now and then, it doesn't make me a farter.
We are back, and I'm here with the one and only Andrea the Giant, and we have some emails to fulfill.
You've got mail.
You like that old school sound effect?
My God, that's a flashback. That's a flashback.
I figured you'd like it. All right. Okay, let's see. All right, our first email right here. Okay. Andrea the Giant. And this is from Tammy, and she sent the email to lyricalspit@gmail.com. And it says, Andrea the Giant, what was the wildest story you could tell me that happened to you in professional wrestling, inside or outside of the ring?
Wildest story. Oh, God. That's a tough one. Wildest story is, are we going to talk in, I imagine we're talking in ring here versus.
Well, it says in or out, so.
In or out, okay. I think all right, I'll go with this. So I'm over in Mexicali, Mexico, doing a show. Finish the show, and all the wrestlers are hanging outside of the venue. We're convincing about this, that, and the other thing that went right, went wrong that evening, and kind of waiting for the promoter to come out and give us our payday. And there's a whole bunch of noise going out on the street, and we hear a car squealing coming up, and then everybody like hits the deck. And I'm the only one standing up. I'm like, what's going on? And apparently this was the car that was going around and randomly shooting people in the area.
Wow. Was it the cartel?
So it was, yeah, something like that. So I'm the only one that's like not in the know because I'm the one from outside the area, and I'm like, what are you guys all afraid of?
That's funny. That's funny. I bet you were over.
Yeah, pretty much, So I got paid first.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, let's see. Jesus Walker sent to lyricalspit@gmail.com. Andrea, were you an Andre the Giant fan, and how did you come up with your wrestling name?
Oh, yeah, simple answer is yes. Always loved his work. The name originated from Baby Doll, who was Ric Flair's ballet, and then she did a little wrestling back in the day.
Shout out to Baby Doll.
Over at our Fed. Yeah, and she was Andrea the Lady Giant is how she went later, after she did a lot of the Ric Flair stuff. And she was retired in there, and my roller derby name, which I wanted to use because you have a persona already established, and lots of people knew me, of Crystal Chaos. We already had a chaos in the group of wrestlers, so the coach suggested I go, and since I was huge, he said I was huge, and do the Andre thing. So I'm like, oh, Andrea the Giant ended up out of that conversation. I touched base with Baby Doll, and she says, yeah, go run with it. So I had her permission, and then ran with it and kind of made it my own. And in the beginning, the black singlet thing was there. And I told my coach, I said that with the strap over the one shoulder really isn't going to work with the with the two puppies there, so it was slightly different. But yeah, I went with it, and back in the day, I wasn't as big as I am now. It wasn't until I hit the gym and beefed up. I thought I really filled out the giant billing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, ran with it, made it my own, and I've enjoyed it ever since. And then actually had conversations as well along the line with Andre's daughter, and she was quite supportive of everything too.
That's awesome.
It was great.
That's awesome. I feel you. I remember when I moved over to the Midwest and was working there, wrestling there, and kind of the same deal. And but Abdullah the Butcher grandfathered his name to me, so I just used my real name, Diafullah, instead of Abdullah. And and it's kind of cool when you get legends that give you the blessings, to use the name or kind of carry on the name. It kind of help keep the tradition alive. So that's awesome. That's awesome. Awesome story. Let's see. Does Andrea's daughter, don't she live in Seattle?
She does.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
She's up your way. She may have moved since the last time I talked, but I'm pretty sure she's up there.
Oh, awesome. I bet she had some good Andre stories, hopefully.
Oh, I bet. Here's a touch point too.
Okay.
I almost had Frenchie as my manager one year.
Frenchie Martin?
The deal it never happened. But that was going to be great if it did. I'm like, that would really create the legacy.
Oh yes. Oh, what you got to check out? Have you been to the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame and Museum in Wichita Falls, Texas?
No, I actually was going to go to it this year.
Oh.
I was always focused in on going to the great CAC events every year, and I've always allocated my vacations to spending all my time at the CAC the full week. And with wrestling, when I was doing it full time, I really didn't have time to go anywhere else. So, this year was going to be the year. Now everything with the CAC and with COVID and everything is just messed up the entire event schedule for everybody. If the wrestler right now, you may win a match, but you may be dead
exactly.
In 2 weeks. You don't know, right? And so the industry pretty much just shut down. I know a few are opening or just wrestling to maybe a handful of people.
Yeah.
But it won't be the same for a long time, unfortunately. And who knows,
Yeah, it was disappointing when the Hall of Fame got postponed also. Joe was there last year, and me and Chief got invited to work the show, and we got invited back this year to work the show, and I was kind of at awe. I had like Mondo Guerrero and Bob Roop and Ronnie Garvin and Abdullah, Butcher Vachon, all there, got to perform in front of them, cut promos. I was kind of like I was marking out. I nothing wrong with that. I was kind of at awe. The thing I'll never forget, I remember walking into the Hall of Fame, and it's the only pro wrestling brick and mortar Hall of Fame in the world solely for pro wrestling. If you want to check them out, go www.pwhf.org. And I remember walking into the museum. The first guy that came up and shook my hand was Ronnie Garvin, and we sat down on this, and we sat down and watched Ronnie Garvin versus Greg Gagne from AWA. And I was kind of, wow. Cool. It was kind of surreal. But anyways, I'm sorry. I'm kind of embellishing right now.
No, it's all good. No, it's on my to-do list, and the closest I've gotten to this at this point is Rumbles in the Redwood match that I'm in is running in the loop over there at the Hall of Fame, which is totally awesome.
Yes. Oh, And so is the CAC, is that still going on in September, or is that being
They're talking about maybe postponing it. We'll see. A lot of the members are like, do we really want to run the risk of getting sick?
Yeah.
So I think that's going to come into play.
Especially the older ones, Especially the older ones.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay, got another email from Linda Lee, and she said her email. Linda, yeah. She sent her email to lyricalspit@gmail.com, and it says, Andrea the Giant. Do you watch television? If so, what are your favorite shows to watch?
Oh, I've watched television from an early age, actually. My dad nicknamed me the boob tube because I watched it all the time.
Not because of 9 and 10, is it?
Yes,
Okay.
Double D's, double trouble. I love watching television. That's how I first saw wrestling and continue to watch wrestling off and on through the ages here. I am a sci-fi nut, so Trek, anything along those lines, started good stuff for me. My mind goes to outer space and visiting different worlds.
Nice.
Stuff like that. I've been dreaming that stuff ever since I was a kid and saw the Apollo launches to the moon.
Now, where were you at when the Challenger exploded? Do you remember?
I was in college, and I was watching it and saw it then. So, yeah, that just kind of stuck in my head. And I was following the space shuttle stuff because my high school teacher was in line he was third in line to be the teacher that went up. So when that happened, it was like, oh, I'm so glad he wasn't on it. And it was just sad. But yeah, it's one of those moments that kind of like burn into your memory of where you're at in time.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we got a couple more here, and this one's from Frank the Trucker. Hey, haven't heard from you haven't heard from him in a while. Frank the Trucker sent to lyricalspit@gmail.com. Oh, okay. This is for you, Andrea and Dobashi. What are your thoughts on the whole cancel culture?
Canceled what? You faded out.
Cancel culture.
You can go first. I've been talking a lot here.
Oh, well, that's what you're here for. You're making it easy for me, girl.
Hey, are you calling me easy? I might have to get you in a ring.
You know what? My back still hurts from the what was that place we were at?
Oh, the Pancake House?
Yes. That was awesome.
I'm sorry.
No, that was
I didn't realize the building was in the middle of your path of falling. I apologize about that. I had to apologize to the people at the Pancake House because all their stuff on the inside, all the pictures and whatnot from the museum that was on the other side of the wall ended up falling on the floor, and it caused a huge mess for them.
People running out thinking it's a big earthquake. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I have that all the time. I actually have to call in to the earthquake center over at California when I come in, so they don't think it's the big one happening, and just give them the heads up, and then they kind of understand I'm traveling, because it always comes in from like the Reno area across to Eureka. You never know.
Well, my thoughts on that. Oh gosh, I could go on for hours, but plain and simple, I think the problem is, I think all these people that grew up, got participation trophies, and never knew how to lose, so on and so on. You know what I mean? I remember doing karate.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I remember
I was the one that always lost.
Oh,
so I always strive to do better.
Yes,
and and that gave you the drive. And I personally think if you can't take the losses, you will not appreciate the wins.
Exactly.
And,
I think.
yeah.
I mean, it's like
we have a bunch of pussies around here. I can say that word.
Oh yeah, you can say whatever you want.
We don't need it.
I mean,
but yeah, no, it's really it's sad. Everything's too PC.
Yes,
right
I mean,
now, you know.
I remember growing up, you know, you lose like at a karate tournament or you whatever, you know, of course I might cry or something. You're upset. Played soccer, we lose a championship, you cry, but you know what? You got back in, you know, sucked it up.
Why would you cry? It's just you. I never did that kind of a thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just giving like an example.
I know. Yeah, I know. I'll make an example of you too.
Oh, I see. You always do. But I mean, you know, and
yeah,
it's
absolutely.
okay. I mean, to me, that gives the kids what preparation. You know, that you don't always win, but you know, what I want. I'm going to give a good message out of this. Like, you don't always win, but losing, you win too because you learn. Make sense?
Absolutely, that's the key thing. And people are naturally better at one thing than another, and it helps you find your path to what you're best at.
Yes.
And that's okay.
Exactly.
And yeah, you want to appreciate the good times until you've been through the hard times. So, yeah.
I remember going to my son's field trip at school, and it's like, you know, I remember when we went to elementary school, we had field trip, and we had ribbons first, second, third, you know, participation, and whatever, you know, and they didn't even like give out ribbons. I was like, what is this? Or I went to the YMCA and watched my nephew play basketball, and they weren't keeping score, and I was like, why ain't you keeping score? I kept score. And
yeah, I always did too. It was crazy not to, because we always competed against each other.
They said, well,
and the ribbon stuff, that was always great for intramurals.
Yes.
Growing up. Yeah.
The big climb
to have like the school Olympics and
exactly.
try to place.
And I mean, and you know, the all the classes, you know, strive. You know, I remember our big thing, the big main event was the two classes went head to head at tug of war, you know, and it was a big thing. And it was like, I mean, or like I remember at the YMCA, I was like, why don't you keep score? You know, basketball. You know, I forgot what they said. They didn't want to upset the kids or something. I just like whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I got through it. It's not like I felt bullied or anything like that from not winning at a sport. Yeah. So, yeah, I really think it has led to a decline in society, one of the contributing factors. Oh, yeah, we don't want to hurt feelings, but that's part of growing up. It's completely different from being bullied.
And it,
you know, I'm an anti-bully kind of stuff, but it's okay to lose.
Yeah. Well, another thing.
Like, would you go do wrestling? What would the fans think if both people win?
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
Like dumbfounded and going like, "What the hell? This isn't what we paid for." Wrestling exists because of the good and the evil in the world, and it's reflected into the ring. And we go from there. People cheer for the underdog. There's so many different things that apply due to having a winner versus a loser.
Yep.
And that's okay.
Well, I love the older shows on TV, like All in the Family, The Jeffersons, you know, Sanford and Son.
TV.
You could never, they could never do any new shows like that anymore. People would be crying.
Yeah, and it's okay. You know, also look at what we got going on now. You know, that's probably a huge fallout of it. You know, when I grew up, I didn't care about people's color. I didn't understand that. It was
right.
The older generation that had that. I treat everybody with respect. I want everybody to get their education. What I don't understand at times is different cultures and such, and family rules. That's okay. I want to learn about them, and people should take the time to learn, because when all said and done, we're born and we die. We're pretty much all the same.
Yep.
It's just we have certain little traits along the way that are slightly different. So.
All right, we got one last email, and this is from Tommy Gin at lyricalspit@gmail.com. Are you ready for this one?
All right, let's go for it.
All right. If you had the power to go back in history to change anything that happened in the past that would make professional wrestling better today, what would you change and why?
Oh, God. I would not allow WWF to form the way it did. I would have them remain its territory. Now, there's good and bad here, because WWF and then on to WWE after the lawsuit. Hey, wrestling's on TV. It brought it to the masses and such.
Right.
But it killed the indie scene. And I so much, and I've talked to Joe Sousa over at Rumble in the Redwoods. I'm like, let's get a federation going. And let's make the territories happen to train the good wrestlers, get them up to the TV. And then you can really have the local fans back and establish wrestling to where it used to be.
Yep.
It's hard. I mean, because the TV's there, but in reality, wrestling as a whole has stumbled through time, and fans have missed the good stuff.
Oh yeah, I agree. Okay. Well, before we take this show home, I want to play some word association with you, and I want to see what comes out of your mind. Are you ready?
Okay. I apologize in advance. All right, go.
Okay. Ready? Here we go. Peanut butter.
Jelly.
Jelly.
Peanut butter.
Mask wearing.
Lucha.
Soda pop.
Use both of them. Carbonation.
Boxers.
You said boxers?
Yeah.
Briefs.
Okay, briefs.
Boxers. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Snowflake.
Winter.
Glow.
Bright.
Jellyfish.
Sting.
Crawfish.
Yeah.
I don't know how I come up with those words. I was just this morning, for some reason, they popped in my mind. So
it's okay.
Okay, well, that wasn't so bad. Now, any last words?
No, I was expecting a little more like provocative words to be tossed out there to put me on the spot. You went easy on me.
Yeah, I did. You know what? Next time I'll be more provocative, or you know what I'm trying to say.
What are you putting in your coffee this morning?
You know, obviously not enough.
No, no, right? Yeah, no, it's all good.
Okay. Well, any last words or plugs before we go, and just take it away?
Yeah, I'll plug my next show. I don't know when it is, but I hope you're all there and alive and safe from this COVID stuff. Support your local indie wrestlers, whoever they happen to be. Go to their shows. You never know when they may show up on TV and be the next big thing, and it'll be because of you. Support your kids. Spend as much time as you can with them, because before you know it, they'll be out of the house and you'll be old. And live life to the fullest. Do what you can when you can, and make it an awesome ride. That's what I've been doing. That's why I wrestle, and yeah, just do it.
Awesome. Any plans for the 4th?
Yeah, we're gonna go. We're gonna do the 4th safely here. We're all gonna huddle inside a vehicle, my family, and we're driving up to a bluff over in St. George, Utah, and it's about 200-300 foot rise off the rest of the area, and they're going to launch fireworks off of that. So we'll probably park over at the old Kmart and catch a good glimpse of it, maybe a box of popcorn in there in the car and do it, and then, go from there.
All right. Well, it was a pleasure. I can't wait to have you on again. I'll be more I can't even say the damn word. You know what I'm trying to say.
It's your prerogative if you want to say it or not. Yeah, no, I hope we can run into each other again, preferably in the ring, have some fun, entertain fans, and I would welcome the opportunity to come back and be on the show.
Awesome. Oh, yeah. Oh, real quick, social media links.
I'm over on YouTube, one Andrea the Giant. That's the number one, Andrea the Giant. I have a channel of sort of videos up there, good, bad, and ugly. And outside of that, there's a Facebook thing that is Andrea the Giant. You can just find me out there. Got the name, makes it easy. And,
awesome.
And independent wrestling shows throughout the U.S. and opportunities exist. I'll be there trying to entertain the fans and beat the fans as well.
Awesome. All right. For all the show links, go to lyricalspit.com. You can leave a message on our 24-hour Lyrical Spit hotline at 360-200-8779. Have a safe and happy 4th of July. And remember, hate don't beat hate, but love has a chance. And you could check out Zelly Vibes at zellyvibes.net. And I'm going to close this show with Zelly Vibes, Money Dance. See ya! And one more thing, Epstein didn't kill himself.
The money dance. Walk in the club, I got hella bands. Bitches be pressed, yet they hella mad. Stop all the hating, quit doing that. Big in this bitch like an elephant. I had to hop in my fella bag. These bitches just tryna see where I'm at. In love with this pussy, he just a cat. Wanna take a nap, but this money got no breaks. I like traps, border snakes, couple packs on the way. Yeah, Bluebird coupe with the coach sheets. Yeah, small ball, I'm big league. I've been at the yo-yo all week. I just wear it like I got my belief. Gucci, she rock Gucci, spend the blue on French tip. She rock bombing, ball like Spalding. I can argue with no bitch. Yeah, you know the coupe, it's a 6-speed. Talk shit, mom, make a bitch bleed. Bail her off, I'm tipsy. Don't hit my line, I'm busy. I do the money dance. Walk in the club, I got hella bands. Bitches be pressed, yet they hella mad. Stop all the hating, quit doing that. Big in this bitch like an elephant. I had to hop in my fella bag. These bitches just tryna see where I'm at. In love with this pussy, he just a cat. I do the money dance. Oy. I do the money dance. Oy. I do the money dance. Oy. I do the money dance. I do the money